Alright, chapter 2 of the textbook Media at Work is called Media, the Morally Developed Media Professional. Discusses how ethics are a part of our everyday lives, and how choosing right from wrong and learning about those rights and wrongs and knowing how to behave, especially using those rights and wrongs, etc. And it also discusses how it is not a personality trait, but it is a skill that we learn over time. And it's kind of like learning how to walk. You don't automatically learn how to walk. You learn over time. When you're younger, when you're a baby or a toddler, you're learning how to slowly develop that walking skill. And as you get older, you fully achieve that skill. So this chapter also goes into how moral development is based on our environment. And it also explains moral sophistication and how it not only means making choices to avoid causing harm and for good, but for choosing those choices for the right reasons. There are different stages of the morally developed, there are different stages of the moral development. The first one is the early stages of moral development, which comes from when we learn when we're younger. We learn how to basically depend on our elders or our parental figures, or even, some form of authority to make decisions for us. Where you have the next stage called the conventional stage. So basically, in the second stage called the conventional stage, we go to realize that our authority figures, our parental figures, don't actually have the answers to all of our problems. They don't actually have the answers to helping us, guide us through whether we should choose right or wrong throughout every decision we make. And we learn that that's okay, and we have to figure it out on our own. So the last stage is basically where we really need to make our own decisions, and we are basically wanting to make our own decisions rather than depending on other people who we've grown up our whole lives, depending on to help us make those certain decisions. We don't want to use them in order to make decisions anymore. And that's basically doing your own thing as you get older, and not really wanting approval from anyone else, or knowing if what you're planning on doing in the future is the right or wrong thing to do, because it's the right thing for you to do if you believe so. So there was basically a segment in this chapter where a journalist was using her moral development and her ethics in order to basically get through everything in life, especially in school, and was used to having the approval and praise from everyone whenever she did certain things, whenever she worked hard, whenever she put in more effort. But when it came to her working as a journalist, at her first journalism job, she came to realize that her job didn't actually roll like that. They didn't like the fact that she was putting in more time, or going overtime, or trying to do more work, or trying to, get to know the people that they were writing stories on, and try to befriend those people who she was writing stories on. They didn't like any of that, because that didn't fit well with what they were trying to do. And basically what they were trying to do was get a story, and they just needed a story, whether it was sad, whether it was a good story, whatever it may have been. They needed those stories in order to actually get more approval from higher companies. And with her going out and trying to do the extra work without talking to other people about it, or trying to go and befriend or help other people out, it wasn't really working with them. But that was what she knew, that was what she learned to do, and that was basically all she did before even working there. And so she came to realize that that her moral development was completely different from what she was taught, from what everyone else at the job was taught to do. So yeah, that's pretty much the chapter in a nutshell.